This is the Elite Leader Insights podcast, where leadership isn't about position, it's about impact.
Each episode is powered by real-life leadership topics from the Elite Leader Insights newsletter, written by Donald C. Kunkel Jr., founder of the Elite Leadership Center and author of The Foundations of Influence.
We help leaders like you build habits rooted in the 5 Foundations of Influence framework.
Because leadership doesn't come from a title, it comes from your influence. Let's get into it.
Okay, so today we're peeling back the layers on a concept that gets thrown around a lot in leadership circles, emotional intelligence.
EQ.
Right, EQ. But we're not just talking about it as, some personality trait you either have or you don't.
Yeah, key point.
We're really zeroing in on why it's a non-negotiable leadership discipline, something you actually work on, and how much it can really transform your influence, your effectiveness.
And this is such a crucial discussion because, as Don's article points out, a lot of leaders, they actually overestimate their EQ.
Really? How so?
Well, they often confuse it with just one part, like empathy. They think, I feel for people, so I'm good.
Ah, okay.
So this conversation, we hope, will clarify the bigger picture of EQ and its, very practical applications, stuff drawn right from the source material. It's about getting past that surface level.
Definitely. So let's tackle that common excuse, maybe. You hear it sometimes. Well, I'm just not a people person.
Right, like it's a fixed thing.
Yeah, almost a shrug, like that's just how I am. But Kunkel's article jumps right on that. It makes it clear that emotional intelligence isn't about being an extrovert or naturally warm or,
The life of the party.
Like exactly. It's not about your basic personality type at all.
Precisely. The core argument here, and it's fundamental, is that EQ is a leadership discipline, a skill set.
Not something you're just born with.
Not a born trait, no. And if you're in any role where you influence others, and let's be honest, if you're leading, you just can't afford to treat it as an optional extra.
Or like a weakness you can't fix.
Right. It's not a bonus skill. It's foundational. Absolutely required for real influence.
And it's fascinating because through his work with the TECCA Influence Assessment, and maybe we should clarify, TECCA stands for trust, emotional intelligence, communication, credibility, and adaptability.
Good idea.
And, during his coaching sessions, Don has seen that a significant number of leaders really do overestimate their EQ. They fall into that trap you mentioned, confusing it just with empathy, thinking, oh, I understand people's pain, I feel for them, so my EQ must be high.
It's a classic blind spot, isn't it? Feeling for people is important, sure, but if it doesn't lead to disciplined action or, crucially, self-awareness,
it can actually backfire.
It can become a liability, yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the actual building blocks of emotional intelligence. The article mentions Daniel Goleman's work from '95, outlining 5 interconnected skills. It's not just one thing.
No, definitely not. A symphony of skills, as you said earlier. That's a great way to put it. These 5 areas are really the essential components. Each one kind of builds on the others.
So what's the first one?
First up is self-awareness. This is basically about recognizing your own emotions as they happen and understanding the huge impact they have.
On your thoughts, your actions.
Exactly. On your thoughts, decisions, behavior. It's knowing not just what you feel, but maybe why you feel it and how that feeling comes across. It's like having an internal radar.
Okay, internal radar. I like that. So if self-awareness is knowing what you're feeling, then the next pillar, self-regulation, sounds like the action step, what you do with that awareness.
You got it. And it's a really key distinction. Self-regulation isn't about, stuffing down your emotions or pretending they don't exist.
Right, not suppression.
No, it's about managing those emotional reactions, stopping them from hijacking your leadership, as Goleman puts it. It's that pause.
That conscious choice.
Yes, that conscious choice you make in how you respond, instead of just reacting, especially when you're under pressure. Think of it like an internal circuit breaker.
Okay, circuit breaker. Got it. What's number 3?
Third is motivation. Now, this isn't just generic drive. It's about using your emotional energy, your emotional drive, to chase goals with persistence, with purpose.
So it's the why behind the push.
Sort of. It's what keeps you going through the tough stuff, keeps you focused, fuels your resilience. It's that internal fire,
Okay. And then we get to empathy, which you mentioned earlier is where people often get stuck thinking it's the whole deal.
Yeah, it's probably the most easily understood one, maybe. Empathy is about understanding the emotions of others, really getting their perspective.
Not just feeling sorry for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not pity. It's the ability to genuinely step into someone else's shoes and try to see the world from their viewpoint. But again, it's just one piece. It's the input, you could say, not the whole output of effective EQ.
And the last one.
And finally, number 5 is social skills. This is really where EQ becomes visible. It's about navigating complex social situations effectively, knowing how to handle conflict constructively.
Building rapport.
Building that strong, authentic rapport, yeah. It's how you basically apply all the other 4 pillars when you interact with people.
And Don Kunkel, in the Foundations of Influence, he really emphasizes that these aren't just like optional nice-to-haves.
Far from it.
He argues they're critical tools, essential for building trust, communicating well, maintaining credibility. He actually calls EQ the connective tissue holding together all 5 foundations of influence in TECCA.
That's such a good description. Connective tissue. It underpins everything. So if your EQ is weak, it directly impacts your trustworthiness, your communication.
Your credibility, your ability to adapt.
All of it. It's like the operating system for your other leadership skills. If it's buggy, even your best intentions or sharpest ideas can just get bogged down.
The article gives this really powerful example. It calls it the EQ trap, when empathy isn't enough.
Ah, yes, that one's important.
It tells the story of this leader who genuinely saw themselves as an empath, really felt people's pain, expressed care.
Sound good so far.
Right. But the same leader frequently lost their temper in meetings, dismissed feedback pretty regularly, and often just blamed stress for their, well, erratic behavior.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately not uncommon. The core insight there is crystal clear. Empathy by itself. It's just not enough for effective leadership.
So feeling isn't doing.
Exactly. As the article points out, without that self-regulation and self-awareness piece, even the most well-meaning, empathetic leader can unintentionally just wreck relationships.
Create a toxic environment.
Undermine trust. Yeah. Feeling deeply for others doesn't give you a pass if you lack the self-control to choose your response. And the real danger, leaders can think they're emotionally intelligent because they feel empathetic.
While totally missing the other crucial parts.
Precisely. Missing the self-management, the social skills.
And Daniel Goleman himself is quoted in the article, and it's such a direct quote. If your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you are not able to manage your distressing emotions, then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far.
Wow. That really says it all, doesn't it?
It really hits home that intelligence, even good intentions, they just can't make up for a lack of emotional discipline.
It's the ultimate reality check, I think. You can have the best plans, the most brilliant strategies, but if your own emotions are constantly derailing things or creating fear,
people won't follow, or they'll follow reluctantly.
Right. Out of compliance, maybe, but not commitment. Not the kind you need.
And we can actually see this play out in the example from the source about mentoring new first sergeants.
Oh, yeah, that's a great illustration.
The author talks about observing how critical EQ was when these new leaders got thrown into intense pressure. These were capable people, right? Mission focus. But suddenly they're dealing with real crises.
Heavy stuff. Marital breakdowns, suicide interventions.
Serious performance issues, calls in the middle of the night, high-stakes stuff where every reaction is magnified.
And the key takeaway from watching them was so insightful.
Yeah.
The leaders who really, truly excelled in those moments, those high-pressure, emotionally charged situations.
Wasn't the most experienced ones.
Not necessarily. Or the most outspoken or the loudest. It was the ones who instinctively knew how to just pause.
Regulate themselves.
Regulate their own emotions, stay grounded, stay centered, even when everything around them felt like chaos. And this wasn't about being cold or detached.
No, it was about being present.
Exactly. Present and centered.
And the impact of that. The article says it was profound. When a leader stays calm and clear in a crisis, it creates this deep sense of psychological safety for the team.
Huge.
It builds massive trust, makes them approachable, which is absolutely vital when things go sideways. It's the difference between a team freezing up and a team feeling safe enough to act, right?
Absolutely. The article really emphasizes, you just cannot lead people effectively without their genuine buy-in. And you won't get that buy-in if you can't connect emotionally. Influence really starts when people feel seen, heard, and safe.
And that starts with the leader's EQ.
Fundamentally, it all comes back to that foundation of emotional intelligence. Again, this isn't about being nice. It's about being truly effective, especially when it counts.
So, if EQ is this critical leadership discipline, not just a trait, how do we actually build it? How do we practice it? The article lays out 3 really practical, actionable ways. Let's make this real for folks listening.
Okay, sounds good. The first one is build self-awareness through reflection. This means actively tracking your emotional triggers daily.
Like keeping a journal.
Could be, or just mentally noting it. When something hits you, frustration, impatience, anxiety about a deadline, don't just brush past it. Pause. Ask yourself, okay, what emotion did I actually feel just then? Where did I feel it in my body, and what did I do with it?
Interesting. Paying attention to the physical feeling, too.
Yeah, this daily, deliberate practice helps you build what you might call emotional literacy. You're mapping your own inner landscape, building that emotional muscle memory.
That makes a lot of sense. We often just react without understanding the trigger. But, self-reflection can be biased, can't it? We see ourselves how we want to see ourselves.
That's a very real challenge, which leads directly to the second practice. Create a feedback loop. Because, like the article says, your view of you is only half the picture.
Right. You might think you were calm, but your team felt something different.
Exactly. So the suggestion is to use tools like 360-degree feedback, or maybe quick pulse surveys, or, and this takes courage, just asking a trusted peer, or maybe even a direct report if the relationship is strong enough. Hey, what's one thing I do, maybe unintentionally, that sometimes shuts people down or makes them hesitate?
Wow, that's direct. Takes guts.
It does, but the potential payoff is huge. One honest, specific piece of feedback like that, it could be worth more than hours of just thinking by yourself. It gives you that crucial outside view.
Okay, so self-reflection plus external feedback. What's the third practice?
The third, and maybe the most critical in the moment, is to regulate before you react. This means actively, consciously pausing before you hit send on that angry email draft.
We've all been there.
Haven't we? Or before you raise your voice in a tense meeting. Or before you just shut down a difficult conversation because it feels uncomfortable.
So it's not about not feeling the anger or frustration.
No. EQ isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about choosing how you express them. The article puts it so well. That moment of restraint is where influence lives.
That's powerful. The space between stimulus and response.
That's exactly it. It's in that space you decide.
Right.
React impulsively or respond constructively. It's about impulse control when things get heated.
And this all ties back, as the article explains so clearly, into the TECCA Influence System trust, emotional intelligence, communication, credibility, adaptability. EQ isn't just one of the 5.
No, it's like the foundation for the foundation almost. It's the vital undercurrent, the through line connecting all of them.
So it's not a siloed skill.
Not at all. The article really spells out what happens when EQ is weak or missing. Predictably, other things start to crumble.
Like what?
Well, trust gets damaged by inconsistency, by unpredictable emotional reactions. Communication, it becomes combative, defensive, or just shuts down. Credibility takes a hit when people see you lose control under pressure.
And adaptability.
Adaptability, which is so key today, right? It turns into avoidance.
Yeah.
Or resistance to change, often because the leader can't manage their own emotional response to the uncertainty that change brings.
So it really is the thread weaving through everything. And here's a statistic from the article that, frankly, is pretty striking. It says the majority of participants taking the TECCA Influence Assessment actually score lowest in emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Out of all 5 foundations, EQ is where most people score lowest. That suggests leaders are struggling with this way more than they might realize.
It really points to a significant blind spot for many leaders, doesn't it? A gap between how emotionally intelligent we think we are and how it actually plays out.
Yeah.
It means there's work to do for a lot of us. But the encouraging part is, it is work that can be done. It's a discipline. It can be learned.
So, as we wrap up today, the core idea, the main takeaway we really want you to hold on to is this. Emotional intelligence is absolutely a learnable, vital leadership discipline. It's not some fixed trait you were born with or without. It's something you can actively choose to build, to refine, to strengthen every single day.
And maybe, on that note, we can leave you with a challenge, a question to ponder.
Let's do it.
Think about a recent challenging interaction you had. Maybe one where emotions ran a bit high, or where, looking back, you feel your response wasn't quite right.
Okay.
Now, how might applying just one of these EQ practices we talked about, that self-awareness through reflection, or seeking feedback, or deliberately regulating before reacting, how might that have shifted the outcome?
Not just for you.
Right? Not just for you, but for everyone involved in that interaction. What could have been different?
That's a great reflection question. And as you think about that, maybe also consider, Which of those 5 EQ domains, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, or those social skills, which one feels like your biggest opportunity for growth right now? Where could focusing first really boost your influence?
Thank you for joining us this week for our latest Elite Leaders Insights podcast.
To explore your personal leadership style and blind spots, visit eliteleadershipcenter.com and take the TECCA Influence Assessment.
It's free for a limited time, it's quick, and it gives you a 6-page report with personalized growth prompts to enhance your leadership ability. And hey, if this podcast made you think, leave us a comment. We genuinely want to hear your thoughts.
Until next week, remember, leadership is influence in action every day in every relationship. Let's build it together.